Hey everybody, this is an unexpected video and with an unexpected guest. I am here with Matt Dennion, who, if you don't know him, you probably know his work as the creator of Atomic Rex for Severed Press. He is also behind numerous other projects like Chimera. He's done numerous crossovers with other friends of mine and their projects, ranging from Draco Azul to Kadoja, kinda. The Crooked Man from my friend Will. Just tons of stuff. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, thank you. Glad to be a guest on your show. I know you don't normally have too many people on your channel, so I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for thinking of me and asking me to come on.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about it, and I was like, this would be kind of cool, because we were actually talking the other night. I just called you out of the blue, and we were just having a conversation, and, just out of the blue, we were, thinking about ideas, because now that Godzilla vs. Power Rangers is just taking off, I looked at the sales. Dude, the sales are insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the dream match fans have wanted for close to 30 years now, right? I mean,
yeah.
Ever since you were a kid and you saw Power Rangers on TV for the first time and had your Power Rangers Zord figures and you had your Godzilla figures, you kind of looked at them next to each other and were like, yeah, this just makes sense, of course, right?
Yeah. So we kind of got on for preface. Last night we were talking, and we were talking about all the possible titles that Godzilla could cross over with, and one that really we kept coming back to was DC. Of seeing ID, since there's numerous reasons as to why DC and Godzilla should really meet up. Multiple reasons. And I think it is, and I don't think we talked about this, but I've got a few reasons as to why I think it's possible, on multiple reasons.
Sure, go right ahead.
The first being is that IDW and DC are very tight. These days, it's very much like DC hanging out with Dark Horse again, back in the 90s, 2000s.
Right.
And the other reason is Godzilla is kind of under Legendary. So they have a working relation with Warner Brothers has a very close working relationship with Toho. So if they wanted to say to Toho, hey, can we do this? I'm pretty sure 90% of the chance they'll go, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that aspect of it. Just more that DC's open to doing crossovers than we know. Marvel's and Disney just are not, pretty much at this point. But DC's definitely open to it, and I hadn't even thought about that aspect of it. But yeah, that would make things even easier.
Absolutely. So we kind of thought about kind of like how they did for a hot minute between DC with Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera, these standalone one-shot stories of each DC superhero meeting different kaiju from the Godzilla universe. And we thought of some really good ones. What was the one that really got us really oh my god, this needs to happen? What was the one...
Well, we had started talking about how we'd like to see the long-awaited battle between Godzilla and Superman, kind of as a number one. And we discussed that, that'd be really cool. I'd actually prefer to see Superman solo as opposed to with the whole Justice League. But if we got the whole Justice League, it'd be okay. And it was from there that we were kind of well, what about if we had the Justice League meet other Toho monsters? How could that be fun? And we kind of branched out from there.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I think the first book should be Godzilla versus Superman. The first issue, the first standalone should be Godzilla and Superman. It's obviously the two linchpins of Toho and DC, excuse me. And, it has to be done.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matchup like Power Rangers. Fans have talked about for a long time. Wouldn't it be cool if Superman fought Godzilla? Even had you go back, I know Kaiju Noir and I did a video on this, that the 1940s Flesher Superman short Arctic giant seemed to have a big influence on Godzilla anyway. So to bring that back around kind of full circle would be pretty cool.
Yeah. It'd be kind of like a great homage if they had Godzilla, Superman in Godzilla's mouth as he's about to charge up and blast him point blank.
Yes. Yes. That would be awesome. So that was when we talked about the only other than that, we went one shots, although I think we both agreed a nice caveat would be to get Batman 66 with a definite Showa version of Godzilla comic would be really fun.
Yeah, that was kind of the major one was, and I've talked about it on this channel too, of redoing the trashed Godzilla versus Batman movie and just bring that script back. They did use the script for Freddy versus Jason versus Ash for that comic.
Yeah, so they definitely could. I actually did a fan project with with this, where it's an online comic where you can look at it. It was one of the writers for it. But yeah, I'd like to see an official one where they kind of bring that script back, where you've got Batgirl in it, kind of the Weather Machine from Son of Godzilla's in the mix, I believe. That would be super fun. And then just that whole kind of like campy vibe to a Showa Godzilla film and a Batman 66, I think would be a blast.
Yeah. But like for the standalones, like what were the like there was like the one I think we really geeked out about outside of Godzilla and Superman was Mothra and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, we were both pretty much on board with Mothra and Wonder Woman. It just made a whole lot of sense. They're both strong female characters. They're both goddesses in a sense. There was a lot of fun things we could do with it. We talked about, you said like maybe Cersei and Batra as sort of like the villains of the series. I thought that was fun. It could also give us the opportunity to see both Mothra and Batra taking on some of the mythological monsters that Wonder Woman is often associated with because she's on Themyscira and comes from that background. And they both tend to bring like hope to their respective universes, I would say. So it just seemed like a very good pairing in that respect.
Yeah. So what do you think the story would be for that? I kind of think it would be that I would have it that the Amazonians have kind of like triggered something, like triggered an event that either like upset Batra, or they've done something to like it's like affecting Batra, or in some case like either they've done something to upset him or her. Because they always change gender on Batra. Like, there's no definitive gender on that kaiju.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I always picture Batra as a her, but yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I would say, like, maybe, like... And you could even do, like, maybe this would be kind of cool, is, like, Mothra and Hippolyta fought together, like, ages ago.
That would be cool, to do, like, a thing in the past where they had worked together. Yes, that would be very cool. So Hippolyta kind of knows, Mothra and the history of... And it would be interesting, too, because it wouldn't necessarily be the same Mothra. It would be the offspring of that Mothra, similarly to how Diana's the offspring of Hippolyta. So that would be like a nice generational story as well. Yeah, I do like the idea of them doing something to upset Batra. I would have it, though, where Cersei, as the villain, kind of sort of frames the Amazons. That way she gets more that villainous role. And perhaps then she, uses Batra to try to destroy Diana in particular, because she hasn't been able to do so in the past, but bringing in something like Batra, especially if we're using like a Heisei type Batra, would be a much bigger challenge than things Cersei's been able to throw at her before, I believe.
Yeah, another kaiju, and this was and I really hope Toho lets IDW do this. I would like if they didn't want to use Batra, why not like Des Ghidorah as Cersei's monster?
Yeah, that might even be better, because Des Ghidorah is perceived as more of like an evil creature, whereas Batra is sort of like a
anti-hero.
Anti-hero, yes, thank you. Yeah, that'd be the way to do it. Plus, it could play in well to other mythology. Like maybe they could play on the fact that, like they mentioned in King of the Monsters, where Ghidorah himself was perceived as a Hydra in the past, or something like that, so that they could perceive a Deso Ghidorah in a similar type of vein. And play it up that way would be interesting as well.
Yeah, and you could even have like maybe Des Ghidorah's like magic allows him to.
I would like to take the garbage out before you guys hit some.
Des Ghidorah basically, like his magic allows him to like break through the barrier.
Oh yes, that would be cool, and you get some cool scenes too of like the lasso of truth, like wrapping multiple heads together type of thing. That would be very cool as well. And just imagine like Wonder Woman using her bracelets to block like a blast from Des Ghidorah, because she's got multiple energy attacks. It'd be really fun. I'd really be into that one as well.
Yeah. 1 second real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, so sorry about that. So you were saying, Matt, you were talking about like Des Ghidorah and how you could use him and Cersei?
Yeah, we were saying that I think it would be cool if they were to play on like some mythology, maybe that Ghidorah, maybe in the past, like what you said about Hippolyta being there, maybe Hippolyta faced him before and kind of classified him as a Hydra or Scylla or one of the other multi-headed serpentine dragon figures from mythology. Would be pretty cool, but it'd be a neat challenge for Wonder Woman to have to take on in that respect.
It'd actually be pretty cool if they had, like, the flashback is that Hippolyta and Mothra teamed up to protect Olympus when Ares used Ghidorah to attack Mount Olympus.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that. And then, again, it would be a good opportunity if you're doing that flashback to show maybe Ares is using some other mythological monsters that we haven't seen Mothra take on before, kind of fighting in a flashback. Something like, not really a Kraken, that's not really from Greek mythology, but maybe a Cyclops or something along those lines, some other fun thing that they could do.
Yeah. Now, here is one I thought of earlier, and I really want to get your thoughts on it for this story. Swamp Thing and Biollante.
That is a really good idea, actually. Yes. Swamp Thing and Biollante would be fantastic. First of all, Swamp Thing is one of the coolest and most powerful characters in all of DC. And I think a neat way to do it would be like if you had Biollante, because he is made from Godzilla cells, he would fall outside of the control of the Green. Like the sort of mystical life force of the Earth that Swamp Thing is the avatar of. But you could do some really fun things with that because Swamp Thing himself can take on, he can grow to a tremendous size. He can take on different forms. Just the visuals of that fun would be really engaging. And then too, one of the other fun things would be Swamp Thing perhaps could relate to Biollante because you would have the girl still sort of like trapped in there somehow.
Like he reaches through the Green to touch her mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he could like sympathize with her perhaps like nobody else can because Swamp Thing's not really Alec Holland anymore. He just kind of thinks he's Alec Holland at some points, and I think that would play in really well with the daughter of the scientist from that movie where she's not really herself anymore. She's sort of part of this larger thing now like he is. So I think a cool thing to do there would be not necessarily that in the end Swamp Thing has to overpower Biollante, but perhaps he finds a way that she can exist in this universe maybe and kind of or go back to her own universe or whatever. But I think that would be a very interesting story and a very fun one to tell too.
Yeah, I would say like Biollante herself is, like you said, outside of the Green, but she's still connected to it in a capacity. But the Parliament of Trees don't acknowledge her. Like she's kind of a corruption. Like she and Swamp Thing would be like, oh, so like for him it would be like, oh, she's an outcast. Like she's kind of like, for lack of a better word, she's like the bastard child that no one wants to talk about.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. That's a good way to think about it. Yes. I think that'd be a really cool story. Actually, that's actually moved up my list a lot in terms of ones I want to see now.
Yeah, I actually have a really good artist. I think would be really cool at this. I don't know if you've heard of him, but Daniel Warren Johnson.
I'm not familiar. But...
You need to check out his Beta Ray Bill miniseries.
Okay.
His artwork, it's a lot like James Stokoe, where it's heavy lines and almost manga anime-ish.
Okay.
But a lot more like grittier. Like you could see this like in the pages of Heavy Metal.
Okay. Yeah, I can picture that then kind of. I think that would be a cool aesthetic for this.
Yeah. The other one I had a thought of after we hung up, and this is actually what we hung up yesterday. I was like, crap, I wish I told him this. Lobo and Gigan.
Oh yeah, that's a very good one too, actually. How would you do that? Would you have like Lobo hired to take out Gigan, or would you have maybe working together on something even? Because Lobo doesn't care.
Well, my theory is my thing would be it's an alien race who just had their planet destroyed by Gigan on one of his rampages, and Lobo is hired because he can't die.
Right.
And it would be like just a series of like Lobo trying to find a way to kill Gigan over and over, but he's like almost doing it's like a grungy metal version of Wile E. Coyote.
Yes, yeah. And you could have like him just taking out a bunch of the cockroach aliens just to up the body count because it's a Lobo comic
as
well.
I would love to have a moment where he gets he jumped the first time he runs into Gigan. He's like, "All right, you fragging one-eyed freak, get ready to meet the main man." He dives at him with his meat hook out, and Gigan just turns on the belly buzzsaw and just eviscerates Lobo.
Yeah, and then he just grows back and comes back for more. That'd be, I think that's a great idea. That's good thoughts, man. I love the Lobo and the Swamp Thing proposed crossovers. Definitely be in for those.
Yeah, so I'm kind of taking the spotlight. What was the other ones we talked about that would be really cool?
Well, one that we were definitely big on, although we kind of bounced back and forth about which kaiju it would be, was using Aquaman and having something where a kaiju perhaps is attacking Atlantis, and then we would get to see not only Aquaman, but the army of Atlantis with their unique vehicles and weapons, as well as all of the sea monsters and sea life that Aquaman can control being brought to bear against them. So we kicked around a few ideas, I know we mentioned Seatopia perhaps, and having Megalon kind of attack. Another one we tossed around was maybe a war between Atlantis and Mu. So we'd have Manda kind of attacking and have those characters as well. And I think you had mentioned perhaps even the characters from Yog, the space monster, which would be interesting because Yog also, as opposed to just making monsters grow, can also control them to some extent. So we'd have that interesting dynamic of Arthur trying to control something that an alien's controlling already, which would be cool too. I think any one of those three could work. Which one do you kind of think is the best option there?
I think mine, I'm kind of leaning towards the Seatopians, kind of they were they want to take it would be ancient texts had said they were the first Atlanteans, but they got kicked out. They're a fringe group of Atlantis.
Okay.
And they want to take back their land, and I would say not just Megalon, but I would say they use Ebra, Gizora, Manda, they use a lot of the major sea aquatic kaiju outside of Titanosaurus. And,
okay.
Yeah. And I would say Aquaman and Titano for this one.
Titanosaurus, you think?
Yeah.
Go with that one. Okay, yes. Because Titano, that reminds me, you'd mentioned, which would be cool too, bringing somehow into the Superman Godzilla Titano, the Super Ape with his kryptonite powers would be interesting as well.
And another image I thought of was, if this got to be a series, how cool would it be to have a Brainiac version of Mechagodzilla?
That would be pretty cool. Because I know we were mentioning Brainiac and Mechagodzilla perhaps, but Mechagodzilla might almost be better because Brainiac, his skull ship usually has tentacles and stuff like that, but you could have it sort of attached to Mecha King Ghidorah would be pretty cool. Yeah,
you could have the Brainiac upside down triangle emblem on his chest and on the forehead of the Cyberhead.
Yes. And you had mentioned perhaps even having that one be a comic where Lex Luthor is the protagonist almost, right? Not necessarily the hero, but he's not going to let the Earth be destroyed, and maybe even he could show up Superman by stopping him, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Which would be interesting too, because then you could do a bunch of neat things. You could bring in Team Luthor. Would be kind of really neat in that respect, maybe, is where Luthor has got these designs for a robot, and he makes sort of an updated Jet Jaguar type of thing. Would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I actually do have one for Jet Jaguar I thought of, but we'll get to that one later. But there was one we really got excited about, was the Wonder Twins with Gyra and Sanda.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be kind of your goofy one-off type of thing, because they're the Wonder Twins, but you could do two fun things with that, because you have two twins who are on the same page, so to speak, with the Wonder Twins, but obviously Sanda and Garya typically aren't. So that you could have some fun with, I feel like.
Yeah.
An interesting way to do that might be, like you had mentioned, the Looney Tunes and DC crossovers, where they kind of had this serious story in the front and then a more fun backstory in the back that's a little bit more goofy. I feel like that one would be a good back 5-page story type of thing in the back of one of the other comics.
You see, I had my idea would be is that I'd really embrace the goofiness of this idea. Is that I would have it that Jaina and her brother had a falling out, and they're like separated, and like when they're just fuming angry about their respective siblings, they run into Gyra and Sanda. Like Jaina meets Sanda, and I think Jace is the name of
I believe so. Jace.
Yeah, Jace meets Gyra, and the two, like, they bond with the respective Gargantuas, and they're, like, kind of vicariously, like, arguing, like, having their own fight as the Gargantuas fight each other.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be cool, too. Like you said, really embrace the campiness of it and go with it that way. That would be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, that one I would not take seriously.
Right.
Yeah. We also had a really good one for like it was a really almost like a horror one with Green Lantern.
Yes, do you want to tell me about that one?
Yeah, that one is Green Lantern with Space Godzilla, but that like when you really think about it, because it's like it's the Green Lantern Corps caught in the middle of like a conflict between Space Godzilla and Starro.
Yes, I thought that was a fantastic idea. First of all, alone just the visuals of, Starro could be taking over Green Lanterns to attack Space Godzilla type of thing. You could get Starro engaging Space Godzilla himself. I feel like if you could in that one too, you got to bring in Mogo somehow. It would be kind of cool. Just imagine like Space Godzilla is like tearing up the place, and then Mogo just kind of drifts in behind him. Yeah. It would be pretty awesome.
Oh god, you gotta have a scene where like Space Godzilla like uses his crystals to absorb the power battery.
Oh yes, that would be cool. Yeah. Maybe sets up his crystal palace things right on top of the Guardian's home base. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh my god, a perfect image. When he's trying to like absorb the power battery, the entity Ion just shoots out and fights him.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Then that would be, like you said, a bit more horror-based than what we typically see. But just imagine the cool things that the Green Lanterns could construct to take on Starro and a Space Godzilla in a mix of a war. Would be great, especially like you'd have like your Jon Stewart, who's like can make more of those like engineering type things, or Kyle Rayner, who's an artist, would make like I can't imagine ridiculous, crazy things that would be neat to see.
He did say in one comic, "I'm a manga nut with a power ring."
Yeah. So just imagine the stuff he would make up. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. You could even have, like, maybe that, like, some of the Lanterns are like, maybe we should team up with Space Godzilla because or Starro. Like, some of them are like, because the Lantern Corps, I think, like, the best way to do it is, like, the Lantern Corps is, like, caught up in the middle of this conflict that's just spiraling out of control, and, like, planets are now, like, falling between these two monsters.
Yeah, well, the way to do it would be like the Green Lanterns look at themselves as sort of like a cosmic police force. So if you had like two warring gangs in a city, that might be which of these two is the bigger threat that we need to stop first, right? And play it that way.
Yeah. I think that would be the best option. Like, yeah, like, I would have, like, Hal, maybe, like, I know what Starro's capable of. I fought him a long time ago. I'm not gonna let him do this. I'll take my chances with the devil I don't know. But you could have, like, John, on the other hand, like, we don't know what he's capable. We don't know what Space Godzilla is capable of. Better to have we know we can stop Starro. We don't know if we can stop Space Godzilla.
Right, yeah, we know we can stop Starro. We don't know about this other thing. Its power level is unknown to us. And John, as the military guy, I think would see it that way. Of course, you'd get hot-headed Guy Gardner, just takes them both on because he's Guy Gardner type of thing,
Yeah, like I would I think Guy would be the one to go, hey, how about not team up with either of them?
Right, yeah, because he's Guy. That's what he does.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like Kilowog in there though. Like he's one of my favorite Lanterns. To see him in that mix too would be fun.
Oh yeah, like have Kilowog like as like this is one big poozer that's coming our way.
Yeah. No, that one would be really fun because sort of like we had mentioned backtracking with Titano coming across Godzilla at some point. Starro coming across Space Godzilla would be cool because one thing Marvel missed out on when they had the rights to Godzilla is taking some of their kaiju that they already had developed and having them meet Godzilla. They didn't do that, so I wouldn't want DC to miss out the same way.
Oh yeah, like you'd have to get like some writers who are like, we have to do this, and this. Yeah, just you gotta jump on these chances. Like you gotta have Titano in a book. You gotta have Starro here. You've I feel like I'm forgetting like another giant.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the things you had mentioned, although there were other giants we can get to, was the idea in the Superman Godzilla one is having it at the end where it's sort of like a mix between Destroyer and Doomsday that they have to work together to stop. Which, like, visually I think would be very cool. Just imagine, like, Destroyer with, like, a Doomsday type face to him and all those bones popping out on top of Destroyer already.
Or, like, a Doomsday with, like, Destroyer features. Like, wings
Yes.
and, like, the face is more Destroyer.
Yes. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that go down.
Doomstroyer.
Yeah, Doomstroyer, right? That's what we said. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Love to see that.
As for, like, I feel like, there's just so many monsters to really play with and, like, so many ideas, and, like, DC with Toho, like, it kind of, it really does feel like it could, but might happen. Like, there's a percentage, and, like, it's just how you do it.
Wait, I do think there's a chance, because clearly lately Toho has been up to put Godzilla in things that we never thought we would have seen before. Like you as mentioned, I never thought we'd have got a Godzilla Power Rangers comic. I never thought we'd get Godzilla in like a Sympho Gear mobile game. You know, heck, Godzilla and Kong's rematch seemed like it was never going to happen in our lifetimes. As what, like 5 years ago, maybe even we didn't think that was possible. And we got all of those things. We got 2 Godzilla animes. We didn't think that would happen. He appeared in the train anime. He was in that one. Was that Snow Godzilla? What's the name of it?
Shin Kalyan.
Shin Kalyan, thank you. So the Toho's been pushing him, and they did make like it known that they want to get Godzilla into more things to get him out there in the public conscious more. So DC would be a good way to do it, and DC is kind of hurting in sales too. If they were to peek over and look at how well the Godzilla Power Rangers is selling, I think that they might be like, hey, we can do this, you know, and make it a worthwhile thing for us to publish.
Yeah, absolutely. As for but there's just so many monsters. I think it'd be kind of cool because obviously we need to have one if we were to do this like one and done like kaiju meets superhero story. We need to find one with Batman. Like, who would you have in a Batman story?
Oh, we had mentioned yesterday, I would do the Godzilla 66 Batman. The other one I might do, is because Batman is typically perceived as more of like a ground level hero, would be one of the more obscure Toho horror type of characters, like the H-Man. Like if the H-Man is just kind of going around through, the Gotham sewers and melting people, and Batman's got to investigate it, would be cool. Or another one I would do, if we were to do a larger monster, and I think this would be really cool, and a huge mess, as we had said, would be if Hedra came to Gotham and Batman was to recruit Clayface to try to, counteract him.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine Gotham's getting covered in clay and sludge and crap, and you've got Clayface and Hedra just kind of similar, I guess, to the Biollante Swamp Thing one, changing forms and slugging it out as Batman's trying to figure out some scientific method to freeze Hedra or disperse him or whatever the case would be.
Yeah.
But I think that would be really fun.
Hedera would be really cool, and I got an idea for it, but let me pitch this one. Batman and Mechagodzilla. Like, have it like Wayne Tech helped create a new Mechagodzilla, and then surprise, the people he was working with were the people from Hunter Nebula, and they activate Mechagodzilla, so now Batman has to like literally fight his way through the insides of Mechagodzilla to shut off the control brain.
That would be pretty cool. If you're going to do it that way too, I'd have like the Bat families operating like the Batmobile and the Batwing and go down the list of different things to try to, distract Mechagodzilla from the city would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, Wayne Enterprises is like working with a group that like claims to he's helping to build Mechagodzilla to be like a deterrent like against kaiju, and then surprise, you help build a weapon of mass destruction. We're turning it on Gotham.
No, that would be a pretty interesting concept, actually. Yes, that'd be another fun one. There's a lot they could do that would make sense and seem to fit the characters without going too overboard with things. I actually enjoyed several of those Looney Tunes and DC crossovers. Some of them were a bit more of a stretch. but like surprisingly, the Elmer Fudd Batman one worked well, and I thought the Wonder Woman Tasmanian Devil one did. But most of these ones we're pitching seem like that they have ways you could connect the characters that would make them fit.
Yeah, like another one was like we wanted to do like another one we thought of was King Caesar and Shazam.
Yes, yeah, that was a great one. You came up with that one, I believe. And the idea of they're both have the powers of gods, right? Like King Caesar basically is a god, and Shazam has the power of a god. You could throw Black Adam into that mix, obviously. Just imagine like Black Adam taking on King Caesar at some point. Like, how cool would that be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would even say like as another space one, as maybe like as a Green Lantern one, if they didn't do Space Godzilla. How about Green Lantern versus Moguera?
Mysterian's Moguera.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Although I might go with something like Adam Strange or Thanagar. Like if the Mysterians invaded Thanagar, how cool would that be? Get all the Hawkmen like taking them on?
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Like Hawkman versus Moguera, or like you could do like if you wanted to do another space character with Adam Strange, like another space kaiju. Maybe you could use one of the other Ghidorahs, like maybe you could use Grand King Ghidorah, and like it's kind of detailed. Like you could do this as Adam Strange versus Ghidorah, and it's more or less like Ron is like, we don't know what the hell to do. We tried like it's almost like a Tom King kind of like it's hopelessness and depressing. Like it's just Adam Strange kind of like documenting the destruction of Ron by Ghidorah's beams, or I would say hands, but he has none.
Right. Yeah. No, that would be cool, though. That would be, again, a different way to do it, because you don't want each of these just to be like a throwdown. There's got to be different nuances to the stories if you were to do it for, like 8 issues, maybe, or something like that across the year would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You spread it out. Yeah, that would be an interesting one, too. But I do like some kind of space monster attacking Thanagar. I think would be pretty cool, because you've got, like, Hawkman and Hawkgirl are two of the better characters, maybe. I mean, the Hawkgirl, especially from like the DCAU, is a fantastic character. So if you could, bring her into it, would be pretty cool. Who else are we forgetting that would be interesting in that kind of mix? Maybe something like Atom Smasher turning into a giant to fight one of the kaiju would be kind of cool.
Yeah, like if we could figure out one for the JSA, like who would be a good monster for the JSA? I did have an interesting one of, and follow me on this, is Constantine and Gabara.
Oh, okay. Because Gabara's more of like an ogre who's might not even necessarily have a physical form, but could be coming from like a different dimension type of thing.
I was gonna say like kind of the original idea for Gabara from Toho is that he's kind of like a nightmare monster, and you could have it that Constantine goes into the dreamscape when he's getting like someone calls him and says, "Hey, all of these kids in like a maternity ward or like an orphanage are having horrible dreams about a monster. Can you just come in and check it out?" And Constantine's like, all right, I'll come in. And he used the spell to like enter the dreamscape, and Gabara is like just terrorizing all these kids like a kaiju-sized Freddy.
That would be cool. And I tell you what I would do for the ending of that would be, I'm talking about different monsters that would be cool. Would if Constantine was to bring in, because it's in a dreamscape, a kaiju-sized Etrigan to take on Gabara. Yeah.
And by the end of it, like, Gabara is sealed away by Dream from Sandman.
Oh, okay, that would be cool, too. Yeah, so you go into, like, the Endless type of thing. That would be very cool. Yeah, any number of stuff you could do with that. We haven't even touched on, like, the Spectre. Like, there'd be he'd be cool to take on one of the more cosmic horrors that is from the Toho universe.
Yeah. It just depends on what they have, what IDW is allowed to use, because even though it's all under Toho, it's hard to tell, like, does this count as a part of the Godzilla universe? Because I would love to use Matango in one of these stories.
Oh, yeah, we mentioned that before. Matango would be very cool. I could see something like Dogora bringing the Spectre to bear, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, Dogora, I would say, it'd actually be a really fun one, like, because sadly, I don't think they could use Frankenstein.
Oh, right, the Toho Frankenstein, I see what you're saying. Right.
But there is, like, so many monsters, like, we haven't mentioned yet, like Baragon, like Varan.
You know what they could do would be interesting is DC has their Agents of Shade with Frankenstein. If they were to do Baragon there, and you were to get like the more intelligent secret agent type of Frankenstein taking on Baragon.
It'd be perfect if you like used a growth ray on him to fight Baragon.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Because they have something like that where you do it, so they grow him, but instead of the like wrestling match, you've got like Frankenstein with like his sword and guns, and he kind of operates like Hellboy in the DC universe. That would be pretty cool to see. Yeah,
that would be so awesome. As for, I'm trying to think of like another like major kaiju. Like, who would you want to see with Rodan?
Oh, that's a good one for Rodan. Hawkman springs to mind, but I kind of like Hawkman better on Thanagar instead of like as a solo thing. Oh, what about the Blackhawks? Go back in time. Rodan appears like in the 1940s, and the Blackhawks are set up to confront him.
It actually really looked like the Blackhawks go on a secret mission to destroy like a Nazi time machine, and they activate it, and Rodan like crawls out of it, and they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah, that would be cool. I think the Blackhawks. To see like those ace pilots, from back in the day, like having to fight this crazy thing. That would be a really fun one to do, actually.
Yeah, I would even say like I'm trying to think of like who could we have with Martian Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter, that's an interesting one because he can change into kind of anything too, and grow into different shapes and stuff. One interesting way to do it might be, I know in the Showa universe, in the Japanese version, Ghidorah destroys Venus, but in the Americanized, in the English version one, they change it to Mars. If you were to tell the story of like set in the Showa universe, that it was King Ghidorah who basically destroys Mars, and maybe John's like the last survivor of that attack and is trying to do what he can to save his family, but in the end he can't, or maybe he's in the middle of saving them when the beam that brings him to Earth pulls him down, and then because he's not there, his family's wiped out. Like, do a dark story like that.
Yeah, that'd be like kind of do with the Adam Strange idea, but kind of like it's the final moments. It's like a neat little out of continuity retcon origin for Martian Manhunter.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so cool. I mean, what would be a cool way to bookend that is like Jean, like years, like a few years later, Jean is watching on screen the final fight in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, and he's just like, I hope they kill you. I hope they kill you, Ghidorah.
Or I would even do it where, like, you go years later, and it's you have the end scene from Destroy All Monsters, but next to Godzilla is John, either like as a giant or taking some dragon-esque form or whatever, and joining the fight would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and just kind of like, I hope this hurts.
Yes, yeah, type of thing. That would be neat.
Just that moment, because Jean's such a pacifist, he's like, I never like violence, I never like that, but Ghidorah, I hope this hurts.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
So many fun things there.
I'd like to do one with, Cyborg and Jet Jaguar.
There you go, yes. Cyborg and Jet Jaguar would be pretty cool. So now, if I were to do it that way, though, I would use a kaiju from the DC comics. So who would be like fun to put there that we could have him go up against?
I would say as the villain, Giganta.
Oh, okay, that's a cool. Yes.
Like Cyborg is battling Giganta by himself, like as like the Justice League's all busy, and he's trying to fight Giganta all by himself, and he's like, and it's a robotics like he's in Japan watching Dr. Ibuki create Jet Jaguar.
That would be cool.
And then Giganta shows up and is like, Cobra or someone hired her to steal, like some DC villain like Grodd or Vandal Savage hired her to steal Jet Jaguar, and Cyborg's the only one there who can fight her. And then you have Jet Jaguar like activate, and then he grows to fight her.
That would be very cool, actually. Yes, that would be a very fun story to see.
Yeah, I would even throw in the Metal Men.
That's a really good idea, actually. Yes, because you could do like in Brave and the Bold, where the Metal Men became like a giant to fight Starro, and put them in that mix too. That would be fun.
Or they like bond with Jet Jaguar and make weapons for him, like kind of like a symbiote.
Yeah, any number of stuff. I mean, Giganta's a great idea because she's in a sense the 50-foot woman, more or less. You know what I mean? And we've all seen tons of fan art of different kaiju fighting the 50-foot woman, so that would be a fun one to do. I would like to throw in a scene of just Giganta fighting Anguirus because he's one of my favorite scenes if he gets his butt kicked. I think that would be kind of cool.
That'd actually be really fun, like have Anguirus cameo in there. Like it's a moment where Anguirus is like, he gets woken up during the fight and she's like, "Oh, you stupid lizard, I'm on a clock, man."
Yeah, it's that type of thing, yeah. That would be really fun, actually.
Yeah. That'd be, oh man, like, out of all of these, that's the one, if I could write any of these as like a legit comic, that would be the one.
Yeah, that one would be pretty fun. I wonder if I had to think about which one I'd like to do. I really kind of like the Starro, Space Godzilla, Green Lantern one. I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be a really fun one, because that one is like, there's so much you can do, like dealing with like the kind of like the balance of, do we help the devil we know, or do we work with a guy who we have no clue but he's stronger than Starro?
Right. It'd be fun to do just that fight with Doom Destroyer with Godzilla and Superman would be fun to do as well. I have to say, and I just love Batman 66. I'd totally be in to do the Batman 66 one because it's so goofy and zany that it's just fun to do. You'd have to end it somehow, maybe where like Godzilla's doing the Bat 2 scene, Batman's doing the dance from Invasion of Astro Monster type of thing, or something crazy. That'd be fun.
And you gotta have Batman scaling, like Batman 66 scaling up Godzilla's spines, like him scaling up the walls in the show.
Oh, that would be great. And then do you just throw some random person on one of the spines, because they always do that cameo where somebody opens the window, like, "Yo, Batman, what are you doing here?" type of thing.
Actually, it would be kind of cool if they did like a character homage to Akira Takarada.
I was thinking the same thing, actually. Yes, if you just kind of like there smiling at them, doesn't have to say anything, just kind of sitting there as they go past them. Maybe Takarada and, oh man, I'm an idiot. I can't remember.
Yoshimitsu Banno.
Banno and the suit actor.
Nakajima.
Nakajima, thank you. Yeah, Haru Nakajima.
Oh my god, he's climbing up the back of Godzilla, and he like stops for a minute, he looks over, and it's the three of them having like a campfire on Godzilla's back.
That would be so cool. Yes.
And they all like look at him and smile and wave, and he just goes,
"Wave."
Yeah.
And if Robin says some kind of holy something or other, Batman, I don't know. That'd be great.
Holy homage to holy Toho homage, Batman.
Yeah, there you go. That would be so awesome. Yeah, and again, I don't think. Some of these are pretty far-fetched, but I don't think the general concept of Godzilla and some Toho monsters crossing into DC is completely out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
at this point.
I have this weird feeling that we're going to get a big announcement in the summer with it. I think we're good with how well it's doing, and the comic will probably be ending by then, and the trade comes out in October. So I think what's going to happen is that they're going to have an announcement ready to go for another Godzilla crossover. Whether it be DC or someone else, I think they are going to shoot another. IDW is ready to shoot another out.
Yeah, and DC might be the best one. I know you had done a video where you talked about other potential crossovers, even within IDW, but with IDW using two of their bigger properties, right, in Transformers and G.I. Joe, that would make sense with Godzilla. DC might be the one that they look to next, right? I can't think of too many other things that would fit as well off the top of my head, outside of those two properties we just mentioned, and Power Rangers are already going on.
Yeah. It's really it's down to either DC or they find another, like someone else gets another title. Like they could do Ninja Turtles. There's ways you could do it, like obviously Godzilla attacking the Technodrome.
Right. Technodrome.
Yeah.
Right. You could have Giant Krang in there still.
And have oh my god, you could have Godzilla fight Trag and Granitor.
Oh yes, yeah. Like there's stuff you could do there that would be fun.
Yeah. Have the Triceratons use Ghidorah and Gigan.
Right. There's that could work out too. Bring back the giant metalhead from their Power Rangers crossover, maybe. That type of thing. But I do think DC probably makes the most sense, right? Like, if you're looking for the best bang for their buck, too.
Yeah, like, obviously DC has, like, everyone says, oh, but MCU. I'm like, yeah, but DC Comics has some of the most iconic characters in literary history.
Oh, right. You've got the Trinity, right there. So those three alone are going to do well, especially in a crossover.
We may never get Superman versus Goku, but now we have a legit shot for Superman versus Godzilla.
Yeah, and I'd be 100% in for that. I think most people would be. I think that would sell well.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think that about does it. Unless you have any other final thoughts, Matt.
No, just that we are available if DC's looking for writers.
Yeah.
We can certainly do that. I'll throw that out there. If you don't mind, I'll as you mentioned to my fans, please check me out. You can just look me up on Amazon as Matthew Dennion. I have my best-selling Atomic Rex series, as you had mentioned, with more books coming from that soon. I have my Chimera series, which is highly regarded. My Operation Rock series, where it's like cybernetic giant birds taking on cryptids, and then giant sharks taking on cryptids. I just started a brand new universe with Raventail Press, where we have Agent 666. He's a character similar to Etrigan, but with like mixes of Scorpion from Mortal Kombat in there, and a little bit of Spawn, where he's sort of like a paranormal investigator. I have the Final Host, which has a lot of apocalyptic tones to it, but is also in the same shared universe with Agent 666. And then my newest character is Project Carcharodon, where it's a body horror story of a guy who's becoming like a shark man, along the lines of like Peter Benchley's Creature, or DC's King Shark. Wouldn't even think to throw King Shark in any of those things. That would be fun.
Yeah, or you could say like it's like the Fly version, the David Cronenberg version of Street Sharks.
Yes, that's very much what my thing is like. But anyway, check me out. Amazon, just look for Matthew Dennion. You can look me up on Facebook and Twitter. Matthew Dennion is where I put all my author stuff, and then Matt, which is how my friends know me, is my my typical Facebook page. But you can hit me up on either one. I'll be happy to point you guys in the right direction. And I'm sure you can put some links in this description too, right? That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, people, go check his stuff out. He is really damn good, and I was shocked I actually managed to get him on here just out of the blue, like, because this was like spur of the moment. This whole video.
When you caught me, I typically work as a teacher, so you caught me on spring break, which was nice. So I had a few minutes. But for a friend, I'm always willing to jump on and help out. So if your fans enjoy me and you like having me on, I'd be happy to come on and talk about something else in the future.
Yeah, totally. I would be down for it. This is crazy. This was so much fun. Thank you so much, Matt. And hopefully I can get, I know this was a little janky, people, but sometimes jank works. Like, when you have no other option, just go with the jank.
There we go. But it was a pleasure. I really had fun. So I definitely love to come on your channel again and discuss whatever you want to talk about. Anything kaiju or superhero related or sci-fi related, I'm definitely in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much, and hope you all enjoyed this. If you haven't already, hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon. Check out exclusive content there. I just did another another video for Faction Wars involving Atlas from Ruby taking on, and what would it be like if they fought Cobra from G.I. Joe. That's where I do polls and stuff. And if you get to the fourth tier, if you do the fourth tier of these videos, you guys can shoot me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. Within reason. This isn't OnlyFans. I'm not photogenic, as you can see. Anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.